my name is Aisha McCoy, and I'm a family recruiter here with Children's Home Society. And welcome to Family Talks, the series where we speak with families about their journeys in bringing children to permanent, safe, and loving families. Not only are we going to be speaking with a CHS family today, but we're also going to have you as a part of our conversation. Our family recruiters are in the chat right now to answer any questions that you have about CHS or foster care and adoption. So make sure to put your comments or questions in the chat below. So for a lot of families who are interested in foster care and adoption, there is so much information that you're not exactly sure where to start. And a lot of times information meetings are that place for families to start with CHS. At the information meetings, we're able to present families more information about our agency. We talk about the steps of the licensing process and also answer any questions that you have. And so that is ultimately where a lot of our families begin, in the information meetings, which I and the family recruiters host. Today, you're about to witness a full circle moment to one of those information meetings that I did in Winston-Salem. Everyone meet Aaron Ryan and Matthew Ceneviva. How are you guys?
Hello. Hi.
Good to see you again. Oftentimes I see families kind of in the beginning stage, but I don't, get to see, how a lot of families end up. So it's great to see you guys again. And I was telling,
we're grateful you were part of the process.
Yes, it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to be a part of a little bit of that process. And hopefully you guys got a good amount of information out of that information meeting.
I wanted to say that the information meeting was really helpful. Just getting the real basics of the program just to see if it was right for us. And the other thing I liked about the information meeting was meeting other families who were also interested in fostering and adopting.
Yeah. You get to meet people who are kind of in the same stages as you are. Some of those families have had experience with fostering and adopting before. So yeah, that's definitely like an added bonus that I don't even think about. If you're interested in going to one of those information meetings, I will leave the link in the chat, and you can actually go to one of our virtual ones.
I did. So we were dating. So we've been married like 7 years, and I think we dated for like 3 years before that. And adoption was just kind of always on my heart, and I didn't really know what it was, but any deeper than that. So me and Matt were driving through Texas one day, and he was just my boyfriend. So I told him, that I really wanted to adopt in the future, deal breaker. And fortunately he was open to it, and we just kind of left it at that. And years later, it's like through marriage and time, it was still like, there for me, but Matt was actually the one that brought it up, that, we should go through with adoption. And, he thought adopting siblings would be right, for us if we found the right match. I don't mean to jump, but we were placed with our kiddos a few months before the pandemic hit, and we don't have any biological children. And I truly, for all like the bumps that the pandemic did for everyone's family life and home life, I can't imagine going through that without both of them. And I can't imagine them going through it without each other, and it's, I think timing just kind of ended up working out, best for them, as much as they, we were locked in the house together for a year. But don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's how, like, I think that was the thing, was like, as much as they're at each other's throats, like, and they're boys, so they're whatever, they're usually angry with each other about something, like,
they're best friends.
Yeah, and they're like together, and they can talk about, I think another thing that's really important, and now we are off topic kind of, but it's true, is that like they have shared memories of like their birth to whatever, 5, birth to 7. And it keeps them connected to their personal histories. Like having someone in the room that they can say, remember that, whatever it is, remember that memory, that place we went, that thing we did.
That family member.
Yeah, that family member, and have someone actually know who that is and speak to it and validate their memories and their experiences.
And add to those memories.
Yeah, and by the way, they have very different memories of, like, they don't remember it the same, but then they can argue about it. But I think that's really important for their sort of personal identities, their sense of self, that someone in this house remembers them when they were younger.
So the truth is that we did start the process and then kind of stopped the process. We bought a house, and we thought that would be a really simple project, and it wasn't. So a few years later, we actually came back to CHS, and what made us ready, again, I think people are drawn to foster care and adoption for all different reasons. For us, we really did want to grow our family through adoption, through foster care. And I think, you'll never feel ready, like 100% ready. And I think we just had to tell ourselves that, like we just kind of had to, we were both on the same page. And I don't know. I mean, the reality is, like, personally, I just, like, sorry, I don't mean to be rambly, but I said this the whole time. Whenever I talked about fostering or adopting, I always said, like, our kids are already out there and they're already ours, and like we just need to get to them. And that's like really what I believed, and really what kind of like eased my anxiety when it seemed overwhelming. And so I think kind of like, the starry version is like we got to it because like we needed to, because our kids were like waiting for us. But the reality is, like, we probably just finally filled out the forms, but really, I think the reason we kind of stopped and started, and stopped, back then, is because our kids were like not ready for us yet, and I don't know, that's just like what I believe, because it just makes sense to me that way. But and I think kind of the nuts and bolts is like, our house was ready, we were kind of in a good place with our jobs and our finances, and your life just does not have to be perfect, and you do not have to be perfect to do this. We are examples of that. But yeah, I think it was just like a timing thing where we were ready to be parents, and we were ready to kind of jump into this process, this journey. been watching The Bachelor.
Yeah, that's that's, I think a lot of times, yes, we do wait for that perfect moment to start things, and even when we like feel it in our heart, and we can have all these different discussions about it and different dreams about it, but yeah, you don't get started until you actually do something, and that something for you was doing the application. And I think it's very beautiful how you put that, that even when things kind of got tough or kind of overwhelming, you thought, hey, like, this might be overwhelming, but this is just something that we have to do to get to our kids. And what I guess you found out now is that, like, yeah, your kids were waiting on you throughout this process, and you just had to get to them. I love that.
Oh yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, if anyone's made it this far in this video that is considering foster care or adoption, is don't let anyone talk you out of it if you think it's really right for you and your family. Some people would just blurt out the most like crazy, terrible stories, like just word vomit and about things that they've heard and read and da da da. And like, I'm here to tell you, like, adoption and foster care, it begins with loss. It does. And that is nothing but sad, but there is beauty, and there is love, and there is family, and like all that good stuff. Like it's just important, because I was just really surprised for that to be the reaction, from people I was sharing with, that was our plan. And I just think, like, if you're on the fence, or if you're not sure, if you're curious, if you hear that negativity, you might just shut the door. And I would just encourage you to like move forward and like decide for yourself if it's right for you, because I don't know, just going through it, that was like one of the biggest hurdles, like not our concerns, like other people's concerns. And it's like, we're good. And we've just met so many amazing families, couples, and single people who have been through it, either through foster care or have gone on to adopt. And then just like talking about it, I've found out that so many people we knew already have been like touched, like adoption or foster care has touched their lives, Mm-hmm. So it just kind of, I don't know, I kind of trailed off there, but did that make sense?
Yes, it did. Yes. So I'm glad that you guys, didn't listen, and you guys, still, went with your heart and decided to move forward in the process. So that's amazing. So
I need to tell you, we were about to meet our kids. Like, again, like this whole time I was just like, they're already out there, they're already ours. And like, this was that day, like we were going to meet them. We had seen their picture, we had learned a little bit about them, and I was going to pass out. I felt like I was gonna die. Like, I was so nervous. I was freaking out. So that's how I felt. And Justin, their adoption recruiter, he's just so laid back and he's like, they're the best, you're gonna love them. And I got up to walk into the room they were in, and I thought I was gonna pass out. I was so overwhelmed and nervous. And I went in the room and I saw Braden's face, who's our oldest, and like it all went away. There was just like total peace, and like I knew it. It was just the most surreal experience, because I just like knew they were our kids. Like it was just wild. Do you remember?
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And
what'd you say?
What'd you say?
I was saying, yeah, Matt, how did you feel on that first experience?
Let's see. I was worried about my beautiful wife, who like didn't. She always looks lovely, but looked a little peaked, a little green in the gills. So some of my attention was on Aaron. I also, if I'm being honest, like I had my guard up a little bit about like falling in love with some kids and then it not working out for whatever reason, you know. I just like, so I was like trying to play cool to a certain extent. And then when we walked in, so we walked into the sort of community room, I guess is what it's called. And Landon was filming the boys who were filming, what are those videos called?
Like an adoption video.
Yeah, one of those adoption videos. And like I said before, I have two brothers, and there were just like two brothers being brothers in all the best and worst ways. And like, that really like affected me, knowing they don't live in the, like they're through no fault of their own, they don't live in the same house. Like they don't get to annoy each other like this every day. Like what is it like? So I just saw like two very cute and like charming brothers. So they both have a real charm about them. If you ever get the chance to meet them, I highly recommend it. They're a delight.
Nope.
So I had my guard up a little bit. I wasn't gonna like allow myself to fall in love, but I guess I probably, like we were pretty head over heels.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty immediately. So yeah, it was cool.
It was very cool.
And I don't want to paint an overly romantic picture because it's a lot of hard work. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also like the best thing we've ever done.
Yes.
But we were driving down to the beach. Like Braden said he had never been to the beach. So we're driving down and we stop somewhere and they put on their pajamas and like, because it was late, it was like after work one night. And we're like driving down to the beach and the sunroof's open and like all the windows are open and we're listening to Rocket Man by Elton John, which is a banger, you know, like that song just hits. And we're like yelling it out and like laughing and giggling and the kids are in their PJs or whatever. And it's just like this like, and they kept saying they could see all these shooting stars, and they didn't see any shooting stars, but they were telling us through the sunroof there. But it was like one of those like, oh man, this is magic, you know? This is like actual magic. This is amazing. So then we get to the beach and like it's nighttime and it's a clear sky and we take them out on like this deck that looks out over the ocean, and there's like no lights because it wasn't tourist season. It was like September or October, and like every star in the sky is just like over their head. And I forget what Brayden said, but it was just something about like the sky is so big, or like look how close the stars are, or something. Like, to Aaron's point, like he was 12, there's still all these childlike wonder moments, you know, that you can have with someone even though they're not 8 or 5 or whatever. And we were just standing there under like the night sky and all these stars and everything, and like all that paperwork and all that stuff, like, boy, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? You fill it out 100 times again to be out on that deck, like looking at the stars. And then the next morning, one of them had never seen the ocean. So he comes down the stairs and out the window, and the night before it was too dark, and his mouth just drops, like, in the ocean's right in front of him out the window. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's incredible. It was
very special.
It was amazing. It was amazing to just be there with him as he experienced, both of them as they experienced that stuff. Like, I don't know, it's not his first steps or whatever, but it's still amazing. It's still like all the magic. It's everything.
And then I think like the other thing that for people who are considering fostering or adoption and, you know, are just kind of like waiting for like the nudge, like, let this be your nudge. You know, like, take this moment and be like, okay, like, let's sign up for the info meeting. Like, just do it. And it's like a shameless plug that I wasn't asked to do. Like, I just like really believe that, you know, foster care needs more good people, like more supportive people for these children, for these birth families, you know, for adoptive parents, like, you know. And if you're open to it, I think just being open to it, like, if you're not fully prepared, like, you can hopefully like gain the tools that you need, you know, or
yeah,
like,
but we weren't.
No.
We still probably aren't.
No.
If our kids were here right now, they would be like back behind the computer, just shaking their heads at us. But like, we figured it out. I mean, you know, we have thus far figured it out. And I think that's
parenting.
I think, I guess that's the thing, is you couldn't actually tell people coming to an informational meeting that this will be like, for us, it's been the best thing we've ever done. The hardest and best thing we've ever done. If you told people that, they'd be like, get out of here. Like, you know, that sounds too good to be true or whatever. But for us, it has been like, I can't imagine our lives. I occasionally imagine our lives through COVID without kids. It would have been easier probably. But even that time together, as like terrible as it was for the world, I mean, it was a blessing for us to get to know our kids in a way the cumulative amount of time we've spent together now is a whole
never would have happened.
Lifetime's worth of time. And we got to know them so intimately, as sort of like
scholastically,
academically, and other, you know, but we got to see them frustrated, mad, sad, like, what does my child look like when he's doing math? I may have never known. And now I do know. He's just drawing pictures. He's not even doing the work. So anyway, it's been, nobody would believe me if I told him, but it's true.
Wow. I mean, it's been great to talk with you guys. again and just see how, like I said, I don't get to oftentimes see the other end. I oftentimes am there at the beginning and kind of, I don't get to see whether or not a family actually became a family. And it's been amazing to talk with you guys and hear your experience and hear all that you've learned and how it's not just affected, your family, but you guys, but also, that love is kind of extended out to your support system and your village as well. So I want to thank you guys again for coming on and sharing. And my hope is that hearing this story will inspire whoever the viewer is right now to begin a story of your own. So if you're watching right now and you are interested in learning more about foster care, learning more about CHS or the adoption process, make sure to chat with one of our recruiters there in the chat. I believe Erin's going to be right there as well, more than likely to answer any questions that you have. Definitely. And also, if you guys are ready to take that first step, just go to chsnc.org/apply, and that will take you right to the application. Again, thank you guys so much. I got so much out of it. I don't know about you, the viewer, right now, but I got so much out of listening to their story. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you again on the next Family Talks. Bye.
Thank you.